binary code, let alone produce a coherent sentence from it. Well, I appreciate you might not go along with the fact that he genuinely did this, and it could all be a setup from there. But this guy isn't writing books, and he's not selling anything to try and generate an income out of this. In some respects, he's completely fed up with the whole thing, but he's got some unanswered questions himself. Anyway, let me continue. The message said something along the lines of I'll tell you exactly what it said. It says exploration, humanity, Conti, that's C-O-N-T-I, for planetary advance, and in between those words were a series of numbers. Now the interpretation that the researchers on the History Channel gave, that was there should be the word of in between exploration and humanity, and that the Conti should be continuous, and that the Air Force soldier may not have remembered all the code that he was originally given. But another take on that was that the message could read exploration, humanity, continuum for planetary advance. But that aside, what I found particularly interesting was the numbers. And the numbers would have been quite handy to have recorded. I did record them. Were 520942.5532. Oh, and letter N on one line, and 131312.69 W on the other line. Now, for those of you ex-military types out there, or explorers, you might recognize them straight away as indeed latitudinal and longitudinal coordinates. The first line actually reads 52 degrees 9 minutes 42.532 seconds north by 13 degrees 13 minutes 12.69 seconds west. And those coordinates, when you chart them up and see, it takes it just off the coast of Ireland, just off the southwest coast to be specific, and pinpoints what is apparently, and maybe you guys already know about it, it's news to me, but there lies a sunken island in itself, given the name High, H-Y, Brazil, High Brazil, which led me to do a little bit of looking into High Brazil, and really interesting stuff. It's alleging that on this island, before it was covered by water some 10,500 years or so ago, which, as I'm sure you all know, is the period of the Great Floods that's been alleged, and the records apparently of people living there indicated that they kept themselves isolated from pretty much the rest of Europe, and they alleged that the Europeans were too barbaric to be in regular contact with, that they had an extremely highly evolved sense of morality and perhaps even technology. Now, what I found interesting was some of the things that pointed out to me regarding the sovereign seal when I was over in Ireland for the turning of the sovereign seal ceremony on the 21st of January. It's let's say more esoteric, or what could be said to be more esoteric descriptions of the harp itself, and the strings and the curves that the heart's made. It's really quite a fascinating tale, and I'm pretty sure it's probably already included in a video on the site, but I wouldn't mind listening to someone go over the specifics of that again, and how it relates to the seasons and the types of seeds that you plant at various times of the years, how it follows the transit of the sun and the moon, and when you cross two of these things together, it's just, you know, the harp, I was informed, can be traced back in Ireland's history for some 12,000 years, you know, and that coupled with this high Brazil, and the interesting fact, because, you know, it all links with the Atlantis myths, that Michael Tsarian has made a point of saying. His belief through his research is that the whole of our countries combined, well, I'm not entirely sure about the entire of England, but certainly the northern part of it, and Wales and Scotland and Ireland, and perhaps this high Brazil, all formed like the Atlantean continent, if you like, and that civilization actually moved from here eastwards. Do I mean eastwards? Westwards. It's like never eat shredded wheat. Yeah, moved westwards and then eventually came back later on in history, which we still see as our distant history, but we might be picking the story up only halfway through. And what I found interesting was reading something about Atlantis, was that Ireland, as it stands now, you know, never mind the sunken high Brazil place, but Ireland as it stands now apparently matches exactly the dimensions given in Plato's account of Atlantis. It's the right length, the right width, and it's at its widest part in the centre, etc. Anyway, just you know, I thought it very interesting that you've now got all these fingers kind of pointing to pretty much your or our location. You know, interesting times indeed, don't you think? I don't know if any of you guys have anything to say on the subject of high Brazil, but I'll just post a link for you, a link from an Irish site that covers it, because I'm pretty sure I was sensible enough to, or maybe not. I was going to say I was sensible enough to put it away in my bookmarks, but yes. Unfortunately not. Right, so cancel that. You'll have to just Google high Brazil and hopefully come across the same site that I did in the end. But it was out of interest, an Irish site, and it began with explanation about the myth of Atlantis, but then further down the page it specifically dealt with high Brazil, spelled Hy. Anyway, that's that particular point over with. Oh no, it's not, because I just thought I'd throw into that mix as well, although I did ask Vincent earlier whereabouts in Ireland it was. I've seen pictures of these hexagonal, and as I'm informed also pentagonal shaped rocks. You know, they look almost manufactured, these basalt rock formations, and apparently they're unique to Ireland. But that's apparently in County Antrim, which is in the north of Ireland. However, you know, regardless, high Brazil's just off the coast southwest of Ireland. You know, and if you look into Ireland's sort of mysteries, if you like, in general, you know, some really interesting stuff going on there. Some very interesting stuff. In fact, not even the mysteries, you know, documented accounts. You know, I dare say it's pretty much the same anywhere where there's been an established civilization for thousands of years. You know, this is the sort of history that I'd have been interested in learning at school, unlike the Industrial Revolution that I covered as part of my O-level. I hasten to say, which I never actually attained, but yes, I remember suffering a whole year's worth of that history without really developing much of an interest. But I'm pretty sure my ears would have pricked up at some of the mentions of High Brazil and topics that Graham Hancock covers. Anyway, where are we? 10 to 11. I'm into my last 10 minutes here, so I won't get going on to any other subjects. I will, however, give another shout out for the Complete Homeopathy Handbook, A Guide to Everyday Healthcare by Miranda Castro. I'm sure if I ask Mrs. Curative there, she might just find a link for you on it from Amazon or something. But to my mind, if you're going to do nothing more than buy some remedies from the chemist, homeopathic remedies from the chemist, and have this book to hand, I'm happy. My bit is done on homeopathy for you, because you basically have just about all you need in that book. It doesn't cover the chronic cases so much. This is mainly about the dealing with acute symptoms. Although it covers headaches and things. But honestly, my advice to you is to get it again while you still can. We touched on, or I touched on, the topic of drugs, shall we say, tonight, and the Giant's Causeway. There you are. Thank you, Del. And someone's asking me to give a shout for. Del's put the link in for the Helios. And yep, helios.co.uk is good. Yep, I've used them myself. And Ainsworth's. I mean, if you're living in or around London, the chemist is right there in the middle of London for you to go to, and they'll actually prepare any remedy for you on the premises there. Even the mega high potencies. But I do caution all of you, while they may well be available, not to go tinkering with them, as bio-friendly as homeopathy is. It's still a medicine, and when you're dealing with the extremely high potencies, you really do have to know what you're doing there. In all honesty, I don't think I've ever subscribed a really high potency, but they are available. All I'm saying is that homeopathy encompasses the full sphere of conditions. It's not just for acute illnesses, but when you're dealing with more chronic cases, you need training. You need to have developed a full understanding, and that's not something that comes by very quickly. However, for the acute uses, the Complete Homeopathy Handbook is the one to get. Right then, 5 to 11. This is Steve, aka Mr. Curative, with some more curative thoughts on this Wednesday, the 9th of February 2011, coming to you live through tnsradio.com. And any listeners out there who aren't already signed up and are of the sovereign persuasion, get on over to tnsradio.ning.com, where we have our chat room, and actually TNS television, or at least very soon.